we're back from the team trials, and boy, I'll tell you, the work doesn't stop when you're away. Anyway, this is some real nice photos here. I want to go through these before we get back to the shop and start doing our normal work. Peter van de Mortel from the Netherlands. He's been flying this ship, built from a kit, of course, with extreme good results. He sent some nice pictures. He's using a Rev-Up 13.6. It weighs 1,800 grams. The wing and stabilizer, aft part of the fuselage, and the landing gear removable. In other words, it's a take-apart plane. He reduced the nose length to 260 millimeters. I'm not so sure what exactly that comes out to in inches. Basically, because I don't know how to add and subtract in metric. It looks like a real pretty plane. And because we're getting ready to, it's less than 2 weeks and we're going to be leaving for England, we're going to try to clean up all the shop projects, all the loose ends that we possibly can here. And we have got projects within projects. The carbon fiber tanks worked flawlessly out at the team trials. I hope you enjoyed that video presentation and get to be there even if you don't want to make that 14-hour ride to Muncie. Well, they're spending a lot of time on this. I got 2 videos. This is from Fred Cronin. What this is going to appear, it's a Z-Tron article. It's going to appear in Model Aviation, and I think in Stunt News, I'm not sure, but pretty much there's no point worrying about it. We'll get a copy of it when it's actually published, and we do have some video of, I guess, that Fred and Bill Young made. So for anybody interested, they may want to call either Bill Young or Fred Cronin and get their own private copy. We didn't get a chance to review these yet because we're in the middle of absolute chaos here with so many projects going on at the same time. Getting ready for England. I'm not sure which pictures Fred is going to use in his magazine article, but he sent me copies of these. It's my heart to see Miss Ashley back in one piece. Oh man. If I could have flown you at the team trials, I could have been 11th instead of 12th. Anyway, just run through these quick pictures real quick. We got people coming over to shop here today with some new interesting projects we're going to try to give them a heads up on. And I look forward to seeing Fred's article. Needless to say, that's one of the things that people interested in this need to get their basic information and make it a lot easier. The videos have been very helpful for some people, but just having information available from as many sources as possible, especially good ones. Actually, there's a nice set of pictures. I never really looked at these too closely before. Anyway, we're going to see in that article if there's and we will definitely, of course, have a Z-Tron in the B-25. There's no way I'd build that and not have be able to control the throttles and the engine shut-offs and things like that. There's a nice one of the nose. Always like that look right down the cowling. And boy, when you look back, now just as one of the things you never think of with video, now that it's gone forever, the original one anyway, but we are going to have a wing mold for that. We may even get to start that before we leave for England, get the sheeting joined and get that laid up. Well, I thought that, especially with the 56 Sato, that was just incredibly good. And we have the 72 and the Typhoon. Have not done a lot of flying with that. Still needs work. We still have Zambelli's little wraparound muffler to test. There's so many things coming up. And I guess that's what makes the hobby itself so interesting, is just having this many interesting things to work on. Boy, getting rid of that box. Boy, remember that box? Now that we've gotten that out of the picture. Well, but that's how progress gets made. It would be nice if you could just go to sleep one night, wake up, and all this was done. But unfortunately, that's not the way it happens. It usually happens by somebody spending hundreds of hours doing stuff and then making it available to other people. Fred is certainly one of those people. And I want to thank him in advance for all the things he's helped me with over the years. He is just one special person. A good person to, if you're interested in any of throttle controls, even the electronic ones, or that great little book he made, one of the special people in the world of control line aviation. This came today too from my good friend Walter Umland, and by the way, let me just say thanks to him for several other things that he's given me. And Walker was also going to send me some stuff from the Chino show. They're having an air show down in Chino, and I hope we get that shortly. We can use to just be inspired for this B-25 project. I'm not sure that anybody else has ever done a B-25. Maybe they have, who knows. I guess we'll find out. Some of the unique cowling exhausts that are unique to some of the B-25s. Good photos in this, and needless to say, anything I can use for ideas. I think we'll even show some of the seating arrangements. A radical paint job here. I think the B-25 is such an adaptable model. It's much more adaptable than many of the other semi-scale projects. And with Dave Downey's help, this is going to be a special, special winter. The original thought was when we get back from England to start building, but it's not going to happen because we have to basically build that carbon wing for Miss Ashley, and we're going to get motivated getting that thing moving soon. I'd like to have that finished as soon as possible, so I have the whole deck cleared for the B-25. No end to the cool nose art too, and now with computer-generated stuff, I'm sure we could get some pretty good replication of this nose art if we chose one of these. I guess that was a big popular thing in World War II. Some of these guys really got pretty lonesome. Pretty lonesome during World War. I shouldn't laugh. It's probably true. This one looks like the nose of Dan Banjock's Miss Susie Q. I don't know. If you wanted to, you could just make one up that didn't exist and nobody even know, because there's so many thousands. Like the short nose version. See, there's a short nose version, and the one with the glass seems to have a longer nose. I think the one with the longer nose would be better for a stunt model. Just accent the corners a little better. And we'll see another thing too. I wanted to put the Z-Tron and the batteries and everything up in the front, because see how short the nose moment is relative to the tail? But because we'll be using probably 4 strokes, and we really don't have a commitment on that yet. We don't know which ones we want to use, but we're for sure having a longer nose to balance the plane will be easier too. I guess every once in a while they had one of them go in too. Hey, Walter's been a special good friend over the years, and I wish him luck with his business, and he's been sending me all kinds of B-25 stuff. Like one of the ones they used in that movie Forever Young. By the way, if you've never seen the movie Forever Young, get a quick copy of it from a video rental. Great B-25 footage right at the end of the movie. This thing, they showed the different places where the machine guns got blanked out. They couldn't fire so that they wouldn't shoot their own tail off or their own propellers or so. Interesting reading, by the way. This is an excellent book. And this is the look I always like, that front view with that little chink in the wing. Flying season is basically over, and we're starting to dream about this more and more. Now that is a nice profile. I don't know, that profile for a stunt ship just looks nice to me. I think that's going to be real good. Makes it even better is that certain key people have told me it's not a good project, so that inspires me even more. Probably look like a ballerina with those 2 big rudders. In case we follow in the footsteps of Joe Adamusco and do one that's totally yellow, hey, check this out. The things when you do a semi-scale project, you want to have as many choices as possible for the final. Look at the teeth on this. It just reminds me of Banjock's plane. I don't know why. That'll be handy when it comes time to do the inking and all the work around the canopy. So many choices. Of course, there's the other choice. You could make it all that kind of silvery aluminum. Just put the stars and bars on it. This is another thing I've always liked. Billy Woolridge has that on his P47, the striped rudders. That looks real neat and tight. I love a semi-scale, and you don't have to, of course. There's always traditional planes. This is one I think, for me, is going to be a big challenge, and I think it's going to be. I'm anticipating it'll take about 2 years to do all this with all the molded parts and whatever. And with the Z-Tron possibilities, taxiing, taking off, landing. A really, really good book. I just want to, for a minute, in case anybody's not familiar with Walter's business, several of the people that he has built planes for have called me to say how satisfied they were. So if you don't have the time to do a building job of your own, give Walter a call. He's pretty reasonable too in price. Anyway, let's get down to shop. We got some company coming over today. This thing Peeps is doing is going after us. Going it. We can never get him on video doing this. He attacks his friend there, the Cardinal. Building a Cardinal, huh? Hey! Hey! Away from that bird. That'll get you off of that, Peeps. Yeah, we'll get rid of that Peeps for you. One of the things we want to do over the course of this winter, of course, is make some upgrades to the Typhoon the way that we were using the Z-Tron. The things that we want to test are, and we already have the 72 in here, we want to test the 72 with the carbon fiber tank. That'll take out quite a bit of the nose weight. We also want to do some changes to the Z-Tron. A few people have looked at the video and picked up information on this, and this of course was our latest version of that Sergio had done. Sergio's got the next generation done, and we're going to go pick it up as soon as we get back from England, but unfortunately we're leaving for England soon, and we'll be gone for 3 weeks, so it'll probably be some kind of a gap in our technology here. Anyway, we got a video from Fred Cronwood, and I think it's the copy of the same video from Bill Young, who make the handles, and of course this is one of them that we're going to be doing some extensive tests on, and this is set for Z-Tron, by the way. And you can buy these from Bill Young or Fred Cronwood. But he sent this video, and I'd like to put some part of the video on here to give you an idea of what they're developing out there and some of that technology. And by sharing this technology, you know, we help the scale people in some ways, they help us in some ways, and the hobby itself benefits by having these neat new accessories. I think these really are good accessories. One of the things I really did, and I'll just put this idea on because Carlos Serra has already started doing something similar to this. I want to put on a pipe motor, I want to put an extra needle valve behind the engine similar to an OS Max, and then run that needle valve with the Z-Tron. And that's probably one of the lower priority projects, but it's certainly, because we have time this winter, we always get some flying days in the middle of the winter. I'd like to have that all set up and ready to go. That's just one of my other projects, but the biggest one is to get the Typhoon moved up to the next generation of equipment. Hopefully we'll learn something, and hopefully we'll be able to pass it on.
You still trying to recover from the ship?
She could just share her salad not coming up here, or what's going on.
Okay, Bill, here we are. We're at the flying field Sunday morning. Here's Fred modeling the new 3-channel handle. And you said this was a left-handed version?
It's a left-handed version because the thumb.
Oh, I see.
The thumb's on this side. If it was a right-handed version, it'd all be on this side.
I gotcha.
This is the throttle set switch, such that you put this handle down in the middle of the circle, you push that button up, and the throttle goes to about quarter power. Start your motors, come back, put the trigger down, idle, and you got full power. On off, adjustment for motor, idle.
Okay. So
typical battery, I believe, is inside there. And then the bumpers so you can rest it on the ground. This is temporary, but ideally you'd have a better setup for the...
Gotcha. So it looks like we're about ready to go. We've installed a 3-channel on Fred's Tiger Cat. We're just going to be running the 1-channel throttle control.
Yeah, one of the important things about this handle is that while it's a 3-channel handle, it can also interface single-channel airplanes. This airplane was built 6 years ago with single-channel in mind, so it has wire servo batteries built for single-channel, and it interfaced the airplane without any modification to the plane. If you put in a special receiver, which is the frame rate changer, with that handle, it can function up to three channels on the airplane. So it's a unique handle that can work with single channel and up to 3 channels. It's not that hard landing. Flying this in reverse quicker.
It isn't?
Yeah, it'll start. Big old beast.
Yeah, you can see here, Bill, that we've installed the sensor on top of a plastic case here, just so it can peek over the top of the engine compartment, as it were.
Is it open or closed?
That's full throttle, and all the way back is idle.
I hadn't seen this yet.
Nice, I like that. That's very nice.
This has basically 3 channels. This is your throttle with the trim, and then 2 additional channels which are push buttons. Basically toggles the servo. So there we have it working as a throttle in the first position. Now I'm pushing the first button here.
Yes, I can hear the servo moving.
not sure why this channel's not working, but this should be operating just like that one. So you could drop a carrier hook, and the way it's programmed, you have to hold it to have it stay in that position. And it returns once you release the button.
This is going to be the first flight test of Bill Young's Z-Tron handle. This is the handheld one.
Developing a feel for that knob, so you know where your throttle setting is. It's too easy. So the ideal thing would be like a little spring tension or a ratchet. Just gotta remember to keep that thing pointed at the airplane.
Control. I didn't have signal there, so it didn't fit.
Okay, so Bill, he said he had a little bit of signal loss for a second there when it went to full power.
So what I'm doing is I may have angled it too much inadvertently.
Okay, so it was pointed a little bit too far away. It's
possibly.
Yeah.
Look at my hand now.
Let me come around here.
I'm making a conscious effort to point it towards the plane.
Yeah, I see what you're doing.
The system works though. I can see that little eye poking above the blue nose.
I'll take a look at it.
It's really sensitive though, that little slide dial.
Yeah.
It's sensitive.
Yeah, we might have to get a pot or something that's a little less sensitive. Yeah, I can't really zoom in stable on that at this distance.
For the most part, the system works. I don't understand why I lost signal there. Yeah, this thing's big. Compared to Tiger Cat.
Yeah. Yeah. Sit there and idle? Yeah. I think it's counterclockwise. Yeah, there it goes.
Dead. Okay. It did get some surging. If you don't hold it the right area, you get the surging.
Right.
Yes.
But I got such a light touch with my thumb, so when I pulled the throttle back there for the touch and go, it worked fine.
Right.
But this is way too sensitive. So the ideal thing is either have some kind of leverage on here so you have a more accurate reading, because the average person goes to hit it, he's going to be full speed or low speed with just a quarter-inch movement. I'm flying in here with that damn thing.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that's what I was getting too.
It's like petting a caterpillar. You know, you gotta just really go gentle with it. Yeah. But it works. Nice 3-point, huh? Just
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's one thing about this.
Oh, Betsy goes fine. So
Sorry, if you don't
Thanks, guys. Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome.
At the airplane, I mean.
Well, what happened, I noticed.
You can see them that they're glowing.
To me on the ground,
Right.
I had a little acceleration that I didn't do because the infrared wasn't on it. So I immediately got back on it so you know you had that angle. That's
So you can't put it full throttle and just put the thing down here at your side.
Well, no. What was happening was when I was pointing it about 5 degrees away. Did you see me what I was doing? I was holding it at idle, and then I was twisting it like this. You know,
it changed on you.
It changed on me. It's like it goes high, low, high, low. Yeah, it has to be pointing right at it.
Yeah, that's what I was getting over here in the ground.
Actually, what it would need is some kind of a memory where it would remember the last throttle setting and you could put it down here.
Well, if Bill could do that, I mean,
if he could do that, he could probably do it.
You'd want to see this.
Oh, yeah, great. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Then did you see the 3-channel handle?
Oh, is that what you got in your Tiger Cat?
Yeah.
So there's your throttle.
Right. See, I have this plugged into a single-channel airplane that was built 6 years ago. This airplane has a wire, servo, and a battery. It was designed for the custom electronic single-channel unit. And what this handle does, the output from the trigger can go straight into a single-channel airplane, or it can go into a special receiver that Bill has that can operate 2 more channels. But this throttle is always single channel, regardless of if you put the little special receiver in line. This is a left-handed version, because the trigger's over here. But the right-handed version would be over here. But this is a less expensive 3-channel that does single or up to 3 channels with the receiver. Good morning, Wendy. We're doing a quick field repair here that I thought might be kind of useful for some of the guys assembling these insulated lines. We have cut off the other ends. We cut off the old ends, and we're going to redo the lines because we think there's a short in the line, which is maybe a good rationale for your infrared system. But I started off with a large connector because we're flying a big airplane here, so I start off with one of these and a bare end of the wire. Now you can do this different ways, but I thread this through, then I double back here to form a loop, like so. That's the first step. Now I buy these binocular shaped fishing connectors, and I mean binocular because they're oval in that, and the reason why I like these is you can double the thing back to create that, but you notice there's room for 3 wires side by side. Okay, so now I put the electronic lead I let kind of dangle out, and I set that. And then I tighten up, leave that there. Where are you? Then I'm trying to, there we go. Then I make it look like this. Notice the big loop, but notice how that's doubled up tight around there. This will never pull out. Even if you don't crimp it, this will never pull out. We had a guy do a pull test one time, and we have our lead, electronic lead, hanging out. So then I take brass. These are the brass ferrules that come off SIG packages of all things. I save these like anything. And because the line has insulation on it, I just pull this tight around. Okay, I got that. I just pull it tight so it looks like that. Now I haven't even crimped this yet, but we could actually fly with it like this, but we're going to crimp this tube anyways. I need to strip the end of this wire here because there's insulation all the way to the end, but I need a bare wire to hook up the electronic lead to it. Grant uses a match which will burn off the insulation, and I just take a knife and I just cut it off. Either way works. As long as you get down to bare wire so you can get a good contact. We take a servo connector, which has a male and a female connector on both ends, and we just cut it in half. One end goes to the plane, one goes to the handle, and when you cut it in half, you notice that the red wire is not being used. This is a JR connector. The red wire is actually dead in terms of what we do. All we need is the ground and the orange wire. So what I've done is I've stripped the wire here. I'll place them side by side. Then I grab a smaller barrel connector and I slide it over, making sure that the barrel connector is actually over both wires. And since this connection is not under tension, you don't have to. This is not taking any tension, so we're just trying to get a good electrical connection here. So then that's crimped right there. So then we have that. Now this is not durable enough. You notice that this can wiggle here, and over time that will break. So we take insulation, and Graham has some in his box. This is too small, but basically you would cover that with insulation and then heat shrink it. And then that's how we're doing the ends. That's how I'm doing the ends on my lines. We take servo leads and we just literally cut them in half because you need one connector for the handle and one connector for the plane. So you just buy a servo lead from your local hobby shop.
Well, not yet. Okay.
What we do is we start off with a servo wire connector, and it's got a connector on both ends, one male, one female. And we just cut it in half. And you get marker.
Okay, stay free.
Okay, we take a servo connector wire, we cut it in half because it has a male and a female connector on both ends.
I have to have an outtakes reel. First it's two bugs on the lens, and then it's an airplane. This happened last time.
Right.
But also sit down. Oh, feels better. Okay. Oh, they're getting good video, but
yeah.
Just loud.
So thanks to Fred and Bill for those tips. We're going to pass them on to the people that we know are interested in this throttle control. I don't know what we'll call this, infrared control. Sergio seems to be improving this unit every time he makes one, so we're looking forward to even having that next generation of equipment in the plane. Well, I just thought I'd mention that. The kind of things you can't control in life. Wow, I'm working in the shop, and I'm setting up my molds and stuff, and they interrupt the news. I usually watch the news in the morning when I have my coffee and try to set up a day's work, and I just can't believe this. Now, the sad thing is my kids both live, if you were to look at where this is, across the river, it's less than maybe 2 miles from where they live, and one of them is in the city now, not far from where this is, and has a. I told him, you know, he's on the roof of his building shooting video, just in case the FBI or something could ever use it, or if they have 2 planes have flown into the Twin Towers, in case a 3rd plane or some other terrorist. These bastards. This is unbelievable, and it's going to be hard to work today because now. There's just some things in life. I mean, this is just one of them. It just right away puts into perspective, you know, your place in the universe. The poor people that are on that, we don't know how many people are dead or anything, but right in the middle of doing something like this, I haven't even had my morning coffee. And to know your two kids are less than 2 miles away, both of the kids are over there. Oh my God, it's going to be a hard day working today. Now it's been over a week since we've done anything relating to models, and I guess by now, by the time you see this video, you know what the world events were the first week. And I decided today that I'd have to get back. We have a little club contest tomorrow. It ends the year, and I figured I'd see my friend George is down here with his new plane, George Venturini, and this is the first time I've been out involved in modeling for a while. Karen and I have done a little bit of volunteer work this week, but nothing really to write home about. But I just haven't had any interest in modeling at all with the world events as they are. Tragic events, virtually everybody in our area here. We're only about 6 miles from the Trade Center. American flags everywhere you look. Yes, and I've said this before, I guess the whole point of this is when you have tragedy in your life, like we have, like all people have had, modeling is just a good way to get through some tough times. And it's always good just to hang out with my friends here. And closes out our contest season at the Palisade Park Field. I'm going to try to get down there for an hour, but it's just still very sad. If you see right up from where we are, that's the New York City skyline just behind those trees. So you think I should fly RC? Is that what you're saying? It's a little more expensive, but you don't mind. We'll just stop by in Dolls, right? Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it's just been a week. You just cannot imagine. It's been an unbelievable time. Just unbelievable. George flies into the weeds. I come all the way down here to see you fly, and look, all I do is get to see a rescue mission. You might fly? Ah. What happened? Fly into the weeds or what?
You know, these planes are a little funny when you run out of fuel. They don't like you.
This prop hanging thing, is this like a Vogue thing in RC now to hang it on the prop?
You still video?
You guys in control line even do this. Oh, they don't do that. Minor repairs. I never have to repair my planes. I don't know.
Are you qualified for weed landing?
Weed. George is inventing new runways here.
I got a land shavak. A land shavak followed by a figure 9. I did a figure 9 last week with my plane. Yeah.
I don't know, George. I thought I was going to come down here and see some amazing demonstration of flying skill.
You're not amazed now? You're not amazed by all of this? Not anybody can find you.
Oh, looks like they have a surprisingly good day. We're only going to be able to stay about an hour or so. Again, our schedule of volunteer work in Karen's town and the town she works in and my town are both doing drives today, so I'm glad I can participate in it. Yeah, we got down here early. The weather looks great. There's some new planes we've never seen before here. And we're trying to make a plan for what we're going to be doing next year. Of course, we're going to be starting our carbon fiber wing mold soon. Make a replacement for Miss Ashley, and who knows what else. Hopefully get started on the B-25, among other projects. There's a lot of shop projects. I don't even know which one I want to start. The Cardinal behaving, Al?
Flown it much since the last contest. It should be.
Still looks pretty good.
Doing all right. Did you see the flipper fly?
No, I didn't get to see it fly.
Yeah.
Is it a stunner or a...
No, well...
I mean, oh, it's got a 4-cycle. I love it. Yeah, it looks good. Excellent.
It's got so much power, I think it'll fly inverted even with the flat bottom airfoil, but I'm afraid to, you know.
Yeah.
So far I do.
That's a 70?
That's a 70.
Oh, yeah. That'll pull a van.
So far I'm doing loops and wing overs.
Yeah, cool. That's a nice big wing.
Yeah.
That'll be fun on grass with the big wheels.
Yeah.
I assume that was...
out at Willow Grove last week.
Yeah, that's part of the idea. Oh, no. I want to make sure of that.
Okay, this is the Wendy Arnowski Excellence in Craftsmanship Award, and Carl Holsworth did a lot of work on this. This is going to be a perpetual award at this event. Wendy's going to judge it today, and this is open to people in scale, old-time stunt, or regular stunt. Anybody here that built their own airplane and that flies it. It has to take an official flight. Is eligible to win this, and we hope to have a lot of fun with this. Wendy is how many times did the concourse? 5 times? 7 times. Built 3 perfect airplanes. I think he's as good a the judge as anybody, and he certainly has set an example, and we're glad to have him. Keep talking, Rich. Keep the camera rolling. Get it back. Yeah.
Want to bring your other airplane over here so you can judge it?
No, just that one. There's my cookie right there.
You give some hints how to keep the canopy from fogging. I vented it into the fuselage.
It's vented?
The 2 places in the fuselage.
Yeah.
Under the seat and behind the headrest, and still
Mine does it too. It does it less when you vent it, but well, try to take a shower without fogging up the shower door. If you figure that out, you'll be a millionaire. It looks nice. This is our carbon fiber wing plane. You haven't been able to break that wing yet, huh? But the day's not over. All right, I like it. How many guys have flown that so far?
Oh, I'm going to say about 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, get as many people, see if somebody can break it. I don't mean hitting the ground, I mean flying it. David's flown it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
David, Rick Campbell, all the guys up there.
Okay, cool.
This is the concourse part of today's contest at Palisades. Wendy's judging. He's asked me to walk around and give a little close-ups for viewing.
What I did is our name. It would depend on the finish. Glued upside down inside a box. One little thing that goes over. It's nice. Yeah.
This is the real life. I was concerned. I wanted to come in and I wanted to come in And the winner is Dick Carvel, the first winner of the perpetual trophy here.
Of my namesake perpetual trophy.
Rich, go over and rub your hand on this. No decals. It's the reason he beat you good and square. No decals.
Ooh, let me look.
Go touch that. That's what perfection is. When you can't, yeah. You do that and you'll win next year. That's an amazing plane, Dick. Good luck.
Good luck. Thank you very much. It's really an honor and a surprise to
Congratulations.
be standing here with this trophy. So.
Well, if Jacobo knew how to do lettering instead of decals, he'd be in
Now you have to
contention.
go ahead and put a
Get
plate.
a plaque on it, right?
Got to put a little plate on it.
Yeah.
A little.
Wait till you see how much they charge you for that,
I'll
too.
take it to a good trophy shop this time. Last time I had to do one of those trophy shops.
I don't think you really see how beautiful this is on the video, but it is beautiful. I was rubbing my hand on it for quite a while. Couldn't find the flaw. Get a close-up of this. This is real close to being up at that level.
planes out here. I should
Really nice.
This has got 2 coats of polyurethane satin over the dope.
No, the workmanship is beautiful on this. I love how you did this. Nice. And you got the horse right off of Miss Ashley. The what do they call it when they convert the planes over to 2 cockpits?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Cockpit's beautiful.
All the graphics is Mike Chioda did.
Yeah, Mike did all lettering and everything.
All lettering for he did it
I'll
out.
get him to do my new lettering for next year.
He did all the
That's nice.
He did all the graphics on it.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Could have won it, but his decals are bubbling up here.
You make a kit like this, don't you, the Striker?
It's coming out soon. Yeah, and it's got real decals, not these press-on things. Actually, Mr. John Brodak, did put in a lot of time and energy into getting these decals that they were absolutely, you could put dope over them without bubbling or lifting. So we're going to see how that's going to work out. Excuse me. Again, I don't know how much of this workmanship you can pick up, but Dick has done a masterful job. This is absolutely one of the nicest, cleanest, neatest stunt ships that I've seen in quite a while. This would definitely be a front row plane at any Nats I've ever been to, and a contender for the concourse. Dick Carvel. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Dick and Doris Carvel. Chioda's plane that kind of a World War I. I guess him and Brian could have a war or something here. Got some very unique, looks like silver leaf up on the nose. Very, very unique. And probably earlier, later, in a very short amount of time, we're going to be starting our second Phase 2 wing mold, which will be a lot more complex, have the tips built right in, a different method of joining it, but kind of a few things we want to try. And I would say for a test plane that's been flown by quite a few people, it should be relatively successful. It's carbon fiber wing, flaps, stab and elevator, and all that is on last year's video set. And the contest is already underway. Unfortunately, like I said before, we are not going to stay long. We would like to get everybody on the video. This way we preserve it for all our future shop hours while we're building all winter. We can listen to these engines run and see Rich Jacobo and buff out his decals and whatever. That was perfect. All right, Mr. Carbon Fiber Wingman over here. You up, Woody?
Okay, what's your first name?
Don.
Let me go take these. You go ahead.
I am an Sato 56.
Okay, in the corner. I'll put it up in the upper left-hand corner.
Such a nice day. I really wish we were staying longer. Woody Ryback's Pirate. Mike Cooper's Magnum. He's already got a Cardinal with a Sato 72 in it. Probably have it ready for next year. I call Sarah, who's been doing some testing with a Sato 56 in one of our older Cardinals. And this Nobler, this is one good flying Nobler. This is Rich Peabody's Nobler.
Okay.
The vibration was so bad that the wire hasn't bucked up to the screw.
Okay.
What happens is this was completely loose here, as you can see.
Okay, so this you made it more red. That's okay.
I put two formers. If you want to put a pipe, you know, can cut this out and put a pipe on.
Just
But
make it that you have a test plane.
This was on such a way that you do this, okay, and you see this thing here open and close.
Right.
You do this. So it was a.
But you're getting flights out of it now, right? That's all that matters.
Every time
And it's better. Even a crappy plane is better than having no plane.
The plane is beautiful. It flies beautifully.
Everybody I heard said you flew well, better than you ever flew your own plane.
And longer.
And longer. He had an overrun.
And longer.
He ran over. He still can't figure out how much fuel to put in this plane. I don't know, Carlos. I thought we were smarter than that.
I don't know.
And the concourse winner, Dick Carvel here, getting ready to fire up for the first official. The Raven. Now, Elliot Scott is already, I think, 3/4 done with making the plans up for our version of the Raven. We'll have to rename it the Raven 2 or something. As we're getting into the middle of the round here, it's getting breezier and breezier. Oh boy, what a nice fall day. Just outside of New York City. everybody displaying their flags on their antennas. Since this tragedy of last week, it's just been an amazing show of patriotism, I think, everywhere. Try not to think about that tragedy. We're only about 6 or 7 miles actually from ground zero right here. And even at the RC field, that's all the people seem to be talking about. And I guess with good reason. Anyway, it is good to see the first winner of the, what, I don't know what we're going to call it, the Arnowski Trophy. Kind of neat. This plane really has to be seen in real life. It really is well executed. And he's now building a plane with a double star 40, a Crusader twin boom. Should be really interesting to see that. Dick's workmanship and finish, always among the best. Dick and Doris have their own plane. I think it's a Piper, but I'm not sure. And a lot of times they would fly to the contest when they had them in Westover and just take the plane out of the plane. It's kind of neat. Like Bob Zambelli, who has his own plane. Anyway, this concludes our flying season, and I think it's been a good one. Brodax was the best ever. All the local contests, we missed a few this year for various reasons. Team Trials was a lot of fun with Kent and Gieske, and that's everybody just hanging out. Bill Rich. Great time at Johnstown. The Philly Flyers have really brought that contest along. And I think next year is going to be even better. We're just going to have the best. Look at our carbon wing mold popping out some wings, some good quality wings. Be able to share that technology with other people. Have a young man named David Chang who's going to be coming down this winter to make a carbon fiber fuselage from our molds that we already are using. Very enthusiastic. I hope he is going to learn, be able to share it with other people, and be able to share the molds. See, that's the nice thing. Once you make these molds, you can loan them to people. They can do their own thing. They serve more than one purpose. Now, an eerie thing this whole week, plus we're right outside of New York, we have not had one airliner fly over our area. We usually we're in the common eye here where it's planes everywhere. No commercial aircraft at all. It's really getting eerie. Dick Carvel, and a hearty congratulations from everybody for a well-executed Raven. If you look in the cockpit, when I was appearance judging these planes, this plane has a dummy engine inside the cockpit. Parts of what would be an Allison engine. Right behind the pilot. Kind of cool. Down by the scale circle, they're doing the judging. I don't think we're going to be here when they do the flying. The glide's really nice, PT19. So you just don't see any end to the patriotism here. That's what our skyline used to look like right from the flying field. I just want to say thanks again to mainly Rich Jacobone, but all the people that have worked to secure us this flying site. And if you've never been here, we get to use this. The only months we don't get to use this are in the absolute summer when it's a full too, by the way, parking lot for a swimming pool club. Noel Drindak with his PA-61, a Kestrel of Steve Busso design. It's on a muffler, not a pipe, a rear exhaust muffler. He's now making these remote blow drivers. Let's see if you can see him take it off. Remote blow driver right in front of Carlos's fingers. Keep your finger out of the battery. Keep your finger out of the prop, not the battery. Noel Drindak. I have had more interesting, informative conversations, phone calls with Noel. One of the real gentlemen of the event, always willing to share what he knows, always willing to try new things, learn new things. I think it's safe to say he knows more about the PA-61s and 65s on mufflers than everybody else in the world combined. He's got a nice 2/4 brake on this setup, running a wood prop, a remote blow driver for safety. He's also the master of polishing spinners. Anybody wants a spinner polished for free, just send it to Noel. He'll do them for free. He'll even pay the postage. Right, Noel? Of course right, Yenta. Oh, man. We really love Noel. He had a bad Nats a couple of years ago. Lost both of his top-level planes. It's good to see him back in action. But always good to get one of those phone calls where we solve the problems of the world, and we certainly did. Noel's objectives usually lie in things that make the control system beefier and stronger, or make the airframe lighter. He's got several innovative features on all his planes. And we can add to that even a remote glow driver that make it safer, make it better to fly. Ask Bob Lampione about all these things. We all want to keep our fingers out of the props, that's for sure. and take these precautions before somebody else gets hurt. Servo running a Sato 56 with a Ron Vargo Venturi, which we have a copy of now for our test program. Kind of one thing Carlos didn't have figured out was the fuel mileage last week. I heard, I wasn't at the concert. Well, let's see if he runs overtime. This is on a Venturi, there's no carburetor. This is pretty much the same, similar setup that Paul Walker's using. Look forward to hearing how he's doing at his, I think he has one more contest left this year. A big wood prop. This plane is officially known as the Tweener. And for anybody who doesn't go back on the videos till 92, it was built in 92. That's the first full-size plane we did the construction of on video. The foam wing set is this wing that's in this plane, which is now 9 years old. Among the other things, this plane flew at the 93 Nats. It was a second row plane, not a front row plane. Bob Lampione won the concourse that year. It did not make the top 5, and it sits as one of I think only 2 planes I've ever made that haven't made the top 5. Maybe 2, I'm not sure. But usually it isn't the plane's fault, it's the pilot's fault. So this is nice and quiet. It had served John DeTavio for about a year. It had served, I'm just guessing, Mike Ajeski had his Jet 60 in here for a while. We ran that when we were developing the Jet 60. We've had the Don Dixon's YS in here with no success. No success with the YS whatsoever. And I would suggest anybody using that motor, if you do have success, please tell me what you did, because I'll be real interested in finding out. It's had my Sato 56 in here. Carlos Serra's Sato 56. Mine had a carburetor. His has Ron Vargo's Venturi. We have the Venturis from Tom Dixon in stock already. I can get them right from Tom Dixon. You can get them from Pat Johnson. You can get them from Jim Schneider. 3 people making Venturis now. It looks like this is about the size plane I would guess a Sato should be flying. It looks comfortable in this size plane. Now this would be a candidate, just thinking of things, this would be a candidate for a car. I'm going to make Carlos a carbon fiber tank. It looks like it has a pretty good corner right now, even without the tank. It's getting an ounce and a half off the nose of the plane. Always increases performance. It always gives you just a little more zip. This is Carlos's first year in expert, moving up from advanced. Hey, it looks like he's got the 56 humming pretty well. I'm impressed with this. You certainly can tell a difference in how quiet this is and whatever's on the side of us here. There's some kind of 2-cycle on the side of us with a tongue muffler just tearing my ear off. What a guy. We're definitely going to be making up a carbon fiber tank for Carlos, I can see that. Hey, bada bing, bada boom! Venturi winds up in this.
That filter with metal mash, like all the race cars used to have.
Pretty cool.
Because on the other engine, one day I started the engine. Before I could put the tap away, the engine stopped like tape.
Yeah, I'll put it on a tape. You show me that.
Front end's that strong.
Anyway, if you can notice, right above the trees, there's still smoke coming out of the Twin Tower disaster. It's still billows of smoke. They're right behind these trees. You can see it.
Get away from the condenser.
Okay, I've waited patiently. In fact, I should have left 10 minutes ago. I'm waiting to see if this prop's going to work.
Where do you see the retracts?
Maybe we can import these from England and make some money on them.
I'm gonna do like you said.
That really does look in keeping with the plane, though.
Yeah. That's a much better size.
You got it on good and tight, huh?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's always a primary problem.
This one hasn't kicked on me yet.
Yeah.
Never say that.
Yeah, and your wife still loves you too. Your wife hasn't found out your bad habits yet, but the day's early. Now, what do you have? Electronic throttle control on this, like the Fred Cronenwet type of thing?
Exactly.
I used his...
With the insulated line. I have plenty of those insulated lines, but I have thousands of feet of them if you need them.
Yeah.
Don't buy any. Well, I spent about $60 on it.
I got a spool of... These are actually insulated flying lines from the 50s that Tom Hampshire did.
Oh, really?
They were in the original package and everything. But at home I have... I got a big spool of shark wire, insulated shark wire.
Well, I got the stuff that Fred recommends. I bought the I don't know what the hell it is, 018s? Whatever it is, it's what you would need to fly a 60 size plane. Obviously you don't want to use 012s on it. So.
I think these are 21,000.
Something like that, yeah.
It's sleepy, it will pull you into the...
Cool.
Add some tip weight, Al.
Yeah.
A little motor offset.
I think I got 3 ounces of tip weight.
He's got that great EAT prop on there. Well, that worked good on tradition, boy, I'll tell you, but you can't clear the ground. I was afraid of chipping it up.
Yeah, that's a big...
That's a 3-pitch. I'm dying to see how this is going to run.
I got the paperwork over here. Look.
That's a 15.3. These are available from, you can go right to his website, EAT Props.
You know, the 3 views show the prop is about the same width.
A scimitar? Yeah.
As the elevator, so it should...
A flat tip, yeah. Look, it looks just like a Zinger.
Wow. The real plane's only 4 times...
Now, where is the real plane?
This one is at the EAA
At the museum? Okay.
Yeah.
They're tiny airplanes. They're driven...
But for the first flight, I had a tank leak and it washed my decal off the other side. So I only got 4 on one side.
You know what you could do with this? Is take and make a rubber mold of the cylinder head so that they would all be exactly the same. They'd be like rubber mold. That'd be wild. Say much longer, but a lot of exciting things. You can see the wind has come up. And we're looking forward tomorrow getting back in the shop. It's been a tough week. In every way it can be tough. Everywhere, American flags everywhere.
Put me in the middle of a mouthful.
Okay, so when you put all those no problem. You need to do
This is Al's electronic flight controls.
What's too touch and go. Touch and go. So I'm going to give you a touch and go.
Taxi and touch and go.
And this, for anybody who doesn't know, this is basically the system that we surfed and Fred Cronwet and Bill Young have documented on their videos. And Bill even makes a handle with a trigger that has the electronic controls. Sato 56 powered modified Cardinal kit. I would say this is about as modified as it can get. He's going to be doing some testing this week for us on one of my spare 56s. be a great scale plane for Brodax. You can land in the grass with this in a minute. Or even if they're going to fly Brodax up on a donut. Look at this, he's got it looping. Cool. Multiple loops. Tail wheel up, tail skid up. Here, we're getting bombed by geese. What a fitting ending. See the shirt. Whoa. How do I get on your preferred Tomcat list here? Do you have to steal these or so? That's nice. How come I never get these things in the mail?
I don't know.
You should donate this to the raffle. Take that shirt off. You know, because the flying season is basically over, one of the things I always like to discuss at the beginning of a season is time management. This is probably the area of modeling that every single person I've ever met, including myself, can make big improvements in with very little effort. One of the things I always try to do, I try to prefab the parts for the upcoming season. Now, one of the projects, and it's probably the first project we're going to work on, is, you know, if you've been along with the videos, we lost Miss Ashley. Miss Ashley now resides in England, by the way. The parts of it, Elliot Scott is going to try to fix it. And I wish him all the luck in the world, but either way, it's kind of fun having it. But what we're going to try to do, in the meantime, because of world events, we've had to postpone our trip to England by by 6 weeks, I think, or 8 weeks, I'm not sure. But anyway, in the meantime, I didn't want to start an actual building of a plane, but I wanted to do as many of the parts for Miss Ashley for the repaired in the upcoming season as I can. Because in that building season, I like to start the B-25. I want to fix Miss Ashley and possibly even build one other plane. That's yet to be seen if we're going to have that time. But what do I mean by prefabbing parts? And this is always so important. This is something everybody can benefit by. Spare body. It's already done. It's already buffed out. But there's a couple little problems with this that we have to work around. First off, we've already started making the mold for the carbon wing. And this is well on its way. We know that's doable. That's not a pipe dream anymore. That's a practical thing. The plane that we did the test on is already a year old. It's flying every day. Many people have flown it, and it's a good flying plane. That's going to come, and we are going to make a carbon fiber wing for the Miss Ashley body that we already have done. It's also going to allow us a couple of other things to invent. We're going to invent how we're going to put the wing gear in. We didn't do that on the original one. And we're going to see if we can have the tips already molded in. We're going to make more scale tips, not the tips that we did on the original one that basically was squared off. A little more scale-like. But now here's the problem. We have time. I have shop time today, in fact, that I want to make we need a replacement tail. And I wanted to use just a little bit different technique to make the stab. Now, if I waited until I was ready to do the whole thing, I would have to do it in sequence. I would have to have the wing in place, because when I line up the tail, at some point in time, I need to line up hinge line to hinge line before I can drill and set these screws in place. So this becomes a little bit of a problem. But because of prefabbing, what I'm going to be able to do is I can do the construction on the tail. I can get this all framed out, ready to go, but I can't put the dowels in place until I have the wing finished and I can line this up. But what prefabbing is going to allow me to do is spend the 3, 4, maybe 8 hours, I don't know, maybe a whole day, a couple of days, depending on how busy the shop is. I can get this done. See, at the same time I'm waiting for other parts to be made, there's always a part to work on. That's what I call prefabbing, that I'm always making parts that I'm going to use eventually, and I bring them up to the point where I can't go any further. I evolved this years ago. When I would build a plane, I would build all the wood parts, the wing, the tail, the body, and I would get to some point in time where the plane was all in one piece. At that point in time, we used to glue the hinges and glue the elevators on, and I would get to this point and I'd say, oh boy, I can't wait till Saturday, I'm going to start to finish. And I'd wait. Saturday'd come, I'd have the whole day to work on a plane. I'd get up in the morning, plane is in one piece, and I'd put a coat of clear dope on, and this is in the old days using other than Brodak finishing. I'd get that first coat of clear on, and I'd not even be finished with my coffee, even put dope on the wheels. And what would happen is, you can't go any further. Now you got to wait for it to dry. And it was just terrible. Building a plane in one piece, there's a lot of time management things that building a plane in one piece is a handicap. A little bit of an improvement over that system was that evolved into where we'd build a plane in one piece, the wing and tail, and years would go by. This did not evolve overnight. And then we'd run into the same problem here. But what we could do, because the cowl was already finished, the flaps were finished, what would happen is, long before I'd ever have this finished, I could start doing the dope finish. I could start getting some dope on the flaps, get some dope on the elevators, then spend the time working on the body. Do the wheel pants, get some dope on that, work on the body a little while. Fiberglass the cowl, work on the body a little bit. So what would happen is the time windows would all be overlapping. And what would happen, instead of taking a month to do it, what would happen is you'd get to this point and there's always something to work on. This is dry, you work on this. When this is drying, if you put dope on that, you could sand these out. You always had something to work on. The objective was that you never had to wait in line or never had to waste time. You always had something to do. A take-apart plane, this gets even better. And of course, not everybody wants to make a take-apart plane. In our case, there's reasons for doing it. The best reason is, as you can see, we lost Miss Ashley in a crash. Well, if we only lost 1 or 2 component parts, or say the tail was salvageable, or the wing was salvageable, or the fuselage, you have a chance of salvaging parts. When a plane is built in one piece, you run the risk that if it's crashed and you break the outer wing, you basically have to throw the plane away sometimes. Anyway, what this allows, though, is we can work on parts independently. We always have some work, sanding, filling, or whatever, and if we have time while something's drying, we could sand out, put another coat on the flaps. And what we've done over the years is bring these parts up into silver, so all that finishing is done. Even if it's not a take-apart plane, it's done conveniently in smaller bits and pieces. Bringing everything up to silver before we actually assemble a plane is a way of saving time. So what's happened is, over the years, we've gone from something that was really, in my book, really cumbersome and not time efficient, to something that got a little bit better, to something that I think now is a whole bunch better than the original way. And what it does, it allows me to do more things in the same amount of time. Just an exercise, and I was speaking to several people about this, And I told them to make up a little pretend priority list, because this has happened to me so many times. I come down to the shop in the morning on a Saturday, typically, when I have a good chunk of time to work without interruptions, without phone calls. Now I really run out there. Listen, as simple as this sounds, and as sometimes it sounds like, well, that has nothing to do with modeling, it has everything to do with modeling, because we all have a limited amount of time. Some people have more hours. For instance, if you have a job where your family life and your job allow you more hours, well, some people have less hours. Some people have almost no hours. So the less hours you have, the more important it is to do this right. So I would look at, the first thing I would do is, when I come down to the shop in the morning, grab a piece of scrap paper and say, what do I need to do today? What's my objective? What's my goal? I'm very goal-oriented. And by the way, this has helped me not only in modeling, but to run my business efficiently, to be successful in the business that I was in before having my own business, and in life in general, just to get a lot of things done in a very short amount of time. Keep in mind that I've done a lot of things. I've basically built at least one new plane every year for the last maybe 25 years. And some years I've built 2 and 3. This is a year I'm going to hopefully be able to do more than one thing. But without a priority list, that's never going to happen. I'll be bogged down and never get anything done. This is important. I always look at the list. I make a list, and this would just be a typical day at Wendy's. And I think, yeah, today's a good day. I got to clean the shop. Let me think about that. I have some filler on parts. Yeah, think about that. I want to detail a canopy, make some little, yeah, I can do that. And I have some dope on the flaps and elevators I have to put on. It's ready for the dope. And I need to sand some silver on some parts. And of course these parts are all ready to go. So the way to look at this is, what's the first thing, the most obvious thing here? I want to dope the flaps and elevators. Because what is that going to do? That can be drying while I'm doing the other work. Okay, that would be my first thing that I would look at. And then I would think, what do I want to sand? Do I want to sand filler or silver? Well, we know silver, if you let it dry an extra day, is a whole lot easier to sand. Filler, it almost doesn't matter. So why not let this dry the extra time and sand the filler? See, so I would make that decision based on what's important here. Okay, then I would look at, well, I can clean the shop anytime. That's fill-in work. I call that fill-in work. When everything is drying and everything, the phone isn't ringing, I could run around and organize the drills and organize the sandpaper or whatever. But look at the other thing is, now it boils down to 2 things. Do I want to sand silver, or do I want to work on a canopy? Well, I know if I let this dry an extra day, and since the rest of the plane hasn't caught up yet, why not work on a canopy? And it doesn't mean like there's hard, fast rules here, but just have the idea of how you would decide how on a day. And anybody that's ever been in any kind of a position in their job where they have to manage and organize things, supervision, you need to have a plan. You always want to have things drying while you're working on other things. And then at the end of the day, let's say you have another hour to go, go clean the shop. If you don't have time, the shop gets cleaned tomorrow and it goes back on the priority list. Anything that's not done here, let's say we didn't get time to clean the shop, this just goes on tomorrow's list to look at what we can do tomorrow. So this is really a very important part of building a model plane. Because if you don't have a plan, if you just come down the shop and randomly work on the tail, the yellow, you're always running into brick walls where, oh, I can't do anything else till that dries. I can't do anything else till that filler dries, or till that fillet dries, or that wheel. There's always brick walls you're running into. So having a priority list and knowing how to organize it, even roughly, is really a big positive thing. It's probably the hardest one to convince people of, and it's the biggest saving. Be more efficient. And one of the easiest ways, this always appeals to people, to save time, save energy, and money. It's such a simple thing, most people overlook it. I call it inventory. Now what is that? How does that apply to me? Well, how it applies to me specifically is, let's say in the course of this winter season, I intend to build 3 planes. I know I'm going to use 6 tubes of CA. Okay, just as an example. You know what? I'll make sure I buy 10. And you might be thinking, oh geez, that's really inefficient, that's terrible, because you're going to throw 4 away. Not really. But what happens if I order 5, and in the middle of a Sunday morning, I'm trying to glue something and I run out of glue, And then I have to either, in some people's cases, they then would order it, or go to a hobby shop, take an hour off, go to the hobby shop, find out, whoops, they didn't have it in the hobby shop. You got to go to the other hobby shop. Well, and they didn't have it either, so now it's Sunday, the other hobby shop isn't open, and believe me, this has happened so many times. When you run out of a critical thing, and I have a list of things I consider critical inventory items. CA happens to be one of them. Epoxy. When you need epoxy, you need it. You can't have one little tiny tube that you're squeezing the last little bit out of. The dope. Thinner. Retarder. Now, it may seem like it's so simple, why even say it? You would laugh if you knew how many people called this phone number on Saturday night panicking. I ran out of thinner. I need retarder. My whole finish is blushing. Well, you know what? When you're going to do a plane, inventory, the amount of money that you would spend to have extra CA, extra epoxy, extra wood. My best friend, and I will not mention Mike Rogers' name, my best friend, he builds a plane. It needs 2/4 inch pieces of sea grain for the flaps. Guess how many he buys? 2. Guess what? One comes out like a pretzel. Now you can't go any further on the plane. Now you got to order more wood from whoever, wait a week, and you get another piece. You use one other piece. It comes in crooked. Whoops, now another week goes by. You see what I'm saying? I mean, I'm oversimplifying this, and it really isn't Mike Rogers. I just used him as a scapegoat here. But to have a minimum amount of stuff on hand, when you seriously want to build a plane, one of the things you need is inventory. A good suggestion is that I use Brodax CA. Before I'm getting ready to start a building season, I order up 4 tubes at a time. I keep it in the refrigerator. Keep it in the refrigerator. Not the freezer, in the refrigerator. And this lasts the whole building season. I only take it out as I need it. And I can use up older glue on molds and on things that are non-structural. But when I'm starting to glue a motor mount to a doubler or a bell crank mount, I want fresh glue. So I'm going to probably use 2 gallons of Brodax dope and maybe 2 gallons of thinner. So I buy 6. I don't want to run out. I don't want it to be Sunday afternoon and be calling John Brodax. I'm out of filler. Please, want you to be out. Please, please, please. Inventory saves you time, and then ultimately it saves you money, because it's those extra trips and that extra shipping and extra everything that winds up, and just the fact it takes the fun out of building when you run out of a piece of wood, a piece of something that you need. This is one of my favorite ones, and because I've been in the business 15 years, I get to see an intimate side of it a lot of people don't see. Plan ahead. You're going to build a model. You go get a set of plans or a kit or whatever, and what I do is look at a picture of the model. Let's say we're going to build a Brodax Nobler, just as an example. And I make up a list of the things I know I'm going to need. If I'm building it from plans, I know I'm going to need a bell crank. I know I'm going to need some lead-out wire. I know I'm going to need an arrow shaft kit. I know I'm going to need 2 horns. If you're building a kit, of course, hey, the stuff would come in a kit. But people building from, they buy Cardinal kit plans, and and I've had this happen 100 times. You call up, I need the bell crank. I need the bell crank. Okay, rush it in today's mail. 2 days later, oh, I need the flap horn. Rush that into the mail. A week later, I need the elevator horn. Now, what it is, you've made 3 unnecessary, well, first off, the cost of shipping, if that's a factor, or the cost of driving to a hobby shop, or the time lost. So what I'm suggesting is plan ahead. Make a list. Again, that word list. Every part you need to build this model. Control system, wheels, if you're going to use any carbon fiber or fiberglass parts, what motor, what tank. Have all that stuff together in the middle of the summer when you're not even going to build. Comes the first day you're ready to build, everything is in-house. I call it in-house, and there is nothing. In some cases, just to make an example, I sold a Cardinal kit to somebody, and I said, well, what kind of motor are you going to use? Oh, no problem, I'm going to buy this certain motor. And I said, well, do you have the motor yet? No. I said, well, you need the motor to build a crutch to start the fuselage. Oh, no problem. Well, 6 months later, I kept getting these panic calls. I don't have the motor yet. I said, well, wouldn't it have been a good idea to order it 6 months ahead of time? If you know certain things take time to get because of the way they're made in small batches, it's not anyone's fault that that happens, but when you know ahead of time, you're going to be using parts that aren't available off the shelf, custom motors. When you send the motor out to be reworked, let's say you have an FP40, you send it to somebody to rework. Don't expect them to do it overnight. Give them a month or two. Give them a reasonable time window. And do all that in the summer so that when you're ready to build, you have the things in-house. In other parts of the country, this may be different. In California or down south where the weather's warmer. But basically, we have 2 seasons here, and they're about equal. They're roughly 6 months each. They're pretty close to being equal. We have a flying season, which has just ended, and we finish it out. And once that's done, I kind of unload the truck. Yeah, we may get a Saturday to go flying, or a warm Wednesday, or a day Mike wants to test the motor, but our flying season is over. We're in the building season now. And what's the things I want to make sure? Well, all summer, I've been accumulating things. First off, I want to know what I want to think about what I want to do. And we know we need to do to Miss Ashley, the B-25, and we wish we had maybe time for one other plane. We don't know. Maybe the Strager kit will come out, and we'll have time to put a Strager kit together. We don't know that, but I'm planning it. Planning in the summer. So that here comes the fall comes, now it's fall. And I want to use my time, energy, money efficiently. First thing I want to make sure is I have inventory. I want everything in-house that I need to build this plane. And extra, even some extra stuff. Little things like a box of extra blades. What I do every building season, I get a box of blades from John Brodak. They're XL blades. 100 blades is about what I use to build a plane. The funny thing is, when you run out of blades and you trying to sharpen these and trying to use them over and use up all, ridiculous. You need 100 blades to build it. I do anyway. And you need to pay the price right up front. It's part of inventory. No, I need 8-10 rolls of tape, so I go down and buy a case. 12 of these in a case, and usually a case gets me through a winter. But if I run out of tape, this is the only tape I can use for certain things. I run out of tape, and it's Sunday morning, I'm dead in the water. In case I need a plan. What am I going to do first? What can I do while something's drying? That's all going to be presented on the videos as we go into the building season. We're already in the building season. And this is true. I go down, I think it's about $50 for these. But you need them. You need some rough sandpaper. This is all sticky back. You need some 320 and some 220. You know, I don't know how much this was. I think it was about $15. Yeah, $16 each. But what'll happen if I don't have this in the middle of building? I'm going to run out of sandpaper. You can't do much without sandpaper. Already done. I've gone through the whole shop. I clean it up and I make a list. What am I short of? I'm short of sandpaper, short of glue. As I'm cleaning up, organizing things, I need some blades. I need, I'm running out of 1/4-inch wood. I need something else. I make this list so that next week when we actually start building, everything is in-house with some spares. And I'm ready then to finalize my plan and physically start the building season. Before we go, I get this from Paul Winter today. I'm going to use Paul as an example, and I think he's a good example as somebody who he's basically got a lot of good technical information. He's looked at a lot of videos, gathered together a lot of information, been able to put it to use right away. And I see here he's got, from this little picture that he sent, that he's won the Concourse Award at the British Nationals, and I congratulate him on that. Now the reason is, and I want to be, a lot of people don't understand about help. They're afraid to ask for help. They're hesitant to ask. One of the things that's helped me to be real successful in life and business is I'm never afraid to call somebody up and ask for their knowledge, whether it's molding, painting, or if you, in Paul's case, he's had John help him with his fly-in, building. If you're afraid to ask for help, that's really a handicap. A few years ago when Paul and John, Elliot, all the guys from England started coming to America, and we started interacting, helping each other, helping each other's modeling program grow. And just think now, look back at the plane you had back then. You've taken advantage of some good help through the video, through asking people, through interacting, and look at the difference in the equipment you have now. Major change, and Paul, you have my congratulations on being a good student so far. Now, the only problem with Paul is you can't help him. He still hasn't figured out the personality part of this. Paul, I don't know how to help you with that. I think your girlfriend has to help you with that. Anyway, we're just kidding. Never be afraid to take advantage of somebody's help. That's probably the biggest lesson of all. To save time, save money, save energy, ask a question, get an answer, and don't make the same mistake other people have already made. One of my friends from England that's made his place in the event is Elliot Scott. And Elliot and I interact constantly. He's one of the people that, he's the person who's in charge of and responsible for the great website we have. And I've tried to help him. Now think of how good this is. He's real good at doing websites. I've taken advantage of his knowledge and help. And I've tried to help him in return with some technology, some videos, some modeling supplies. And together I think we've been a good team over the last few years. And I hope when we do get to go to England, because of world events, that's been postponed, we'll get together with all the English stunt flyers, and again we'll have a great seminar, fun fly. I don't know what we call it, but it was a lot of fun. The guys in England really are a good group. And Roger Lads. We hope Roger's wife is going to cook for us again. How successful was this year? I could have never dreamed it any better. This is the second year in a row we've had a carbon fiber fuselage plane flying a Walker fly-off with a totally different engine package that anybody had ever flown in the Walker fly-off. A different size engine, a different type of engine. It's still in the development stage. It's still new. We're still learning about it every time we fly it. And the first one to ever fly the Z-Tron throttle control. So I think in the last year it's safe to say we've developed some new technology that people, if they like it and enjoy it, can take advantage of. And if they're not prone to like it, if they like traditional type of stunt things, tune pipes and things, certainly nothing wrong with that. But I do think somewhere in the future there's going to be a lot more real semi-scale looking and sounding planes. I really feel that that's coming. And it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out at the World Championships. Planning on starting the B-25 project until we get all these other loose ends caught up, because I want to devote full time and energy to that. But even some of these loose ends, some of these repairs, some of these prefab things, good knowledge, good information. I'd like to see in the latest stunt news that Big Jim is back actively doing motors. And I think if you're into Super Tigers, he is by far the best. He's the Super Tiger King of the universe. In the last email I had from Paul Walker, he's working with Sato 56s. He's really thinking about designing up a semi-scale P-51 Reno Air Racer. And boy, Paul, I think that is certainly one of my favorite topics. And certainly I'm not alone in really enjoying that part of the hobby. I really look for, he said he's going to send us a set of plans. I hope he will, and I hope he'll share whatever he learns with this new design with us. I would even consider that as my extra plane this year, because I know Paul's an excellent designer, certainly better than I am. And it would be an interesting addition to our Air Force. Working with the Z-Tron unit with Sergio, his next phase of this unit, which I'm due to pick up any day now. because I'm not going to really get a chance to fly it anymore this season, he's kind of put it on the back burner. We've also had Tom Dixon, Ron Varno, and Pat Johnson make us Venturis for the 56. We still need to do all our tests on those. That's another upcoming project. Again, it doesn't look like we're going to get a lot or any fly-in soon. We also have, from Ed Gallagher, vinyl ester resin to try on our fuel tank molds in the future. What happens here is we just run out of time. There's only so many minutes and days and hours in my day, and I try, as an example, every day I make at least one cardinal cowling, at least one fuel tank, or otherwise what happens then in the winter when I'm in building season, I wind up spending half the day molding. This is from Bill Young. I've had this on the video before. I just haven't had the time to try it. I need to hook it up with the Z-Tron, do a little bit of wiring. He sent me a diagram, but I'm really thinking possibly in the future this might be one of the things. In my case, my hand is so used to being in a given position that I found it difficult when I tried this to get up on the trigger here. I think on a smaller plane, a 35 ship, it would be not as much of a problem as when you have something that has this much line tension. Again, this will be an interesting part of our test program for sure in the spring. And Bill, you've seen it on this video, he's already had even higher upgrades to this unit. Bill Young, Fred Cronwood have been a very important part of this season that's now officially over. The 2001, which is now becoming the 2002 Stunt Odyssey. I never known when I made Miss Ashley that making that extra fuselage would be so handy, but that's the kind of thing that makes model aviation such an adventure. You never really know where it's going. I mean, when we made the Nobler cowl, for instance, the plug for the cowl, Spitfire canopies, carbon fiber crutches, just a day doesn't go by that I don't have some idea of something that I think might be appropriate, might be worth trying. Fiber tanks, I have to make one a day to keep up with inventory right now. They're certainly going to be a part of our future. Building technology we've learned and shared in the last couple of years. I've enjoyed this part of modeling immensely. And I think the future of this event, a lot more parts every year that go by. There'll be more parts made out of carbon fiber that are less labor to build. And as they get to be that you can sell more and more of them, the cost will come tumbling down. Lost the Red Baron this year. That was one of the sacrifices we had to make to develop the four-strokes to the level that we could get them into the top 5. And I think the Red Baron certainly deserves some of the credit, along with Bob Zambelli and all the Philly Flyers, for helping that to happen. The project we really look forward to finishing. Now, Mike Kajeski has had a little change in his personal work life, and right now he's just not able to put any time in on a plane. Again, that happens to all of us, but his Cardinal with the short nose, the carbon tank, the Sato 72, I just think this is going to be one fun plane to trim out if we can get it finished over the winter, and of course it'll be part of our ongoing video series as we work on it. In the Spitfire bedroom, I have some things that Walter Umland sent me. He got these from some collectible show. They're beautifully, I'm going to get them framed. They're all, of course, B-25 stuff, just to give me some, and they look authentic too. I don't know if these are repros or authentic. They look authentic to me anyway. And of course, Walter, thanks for all your help. We also have the car that his dad made and all the memorabilia that I've saved from all my trips worldwide. All the things from Gerald Champ, from everybody. I don't know, the names just go on and on. I've really enjoyed having this Spitfire bedroom as just Pete Klepsik's wallet. I've enjoyed all the kits John Brodak gave me. I've just enjoyed having this like nothing else I've ever done, is this Spitfire bedroom. Every time we have somebody sleep over here, stay up here, it just seems like it's a magic place, and it's a fun place. And it keeps us, one of these years, Joe Adamusco and I have this plan that we're going to go to the mats. We're going to take the 2 original Spitfires with the Tiger 60s still in them. The needle valve is still set from that season. and we want to go back and have a nostalgia. We have the same shirts we wore, the same, I don't even know what, the same underwear maybe, who knows. I just think we're just going to have a great time and have a nostalgia Nats, because basically what's happened, I've kind of lost the edge on my feeling of competitiveness, and I've kind of gotten the edge more on developing new and things that are challenging to me. And I think that's the thrust of where my next season and maybe the rest of my life is going to go, toward developing new things that nobody's ever done before, and maybe a little bit less on the competitive side of control line stunt. Boy, that nostalgia Nats would just be wonderful. I really would look forward to that. Future is coming, and we've already added to our list of Warbird books from, I guess, many sources. Just love reading about these planes. Love that the whole 4 years that I was immersed in the Spitfire stuff. Just look back at that as just the greatest of times. I end a flying season and start a building season. I look around at all these top 5 posters and I just wonder, if you did something else with your life, I don't know what that would be, golf or bowling, something that would be entertaining, I don't know that you could ever have this same amount of friends or the same amount of fun. I just think this is the most wonderful sport in the whole world, and through it you make friends. It's just a lifelong thing. Hope you'll be joining us for this whole upcoming season of building, finishing, developing, maybe a little flying. Working with Dave Downey. We have to set up our computer so we can interact with Dave down at Boeing. It's just going to be a great time. I look forward to it like nothing else. And every time I've built one of these models, it's just another chapter in my life. And the people I've shared it with, I'm sure it becomes a chapter in their life too. And think of that. What would be the thing you do if we didn't have this event? What would it be? I mean, I don't know. It's a question I ask, but I certainly don't have an answer. From our kit production area, I'm just so happy. The last batch of foam parts I got from John Duncan for our foam Cardinal kits, they're working out better than ever. John has just filled in the gap, done a great job. If anybody needs any foam supplies, don't hesitate to call John Duncan. Old adventure be any less fun without Chicky. Chicky is hopefully going to be part of the 2002 videos. Special congratulations to Woody Midgley on winning the Massachusetts meet with the carbon copy. As a final closing thing, I always look back at each season individually and say, was I satisfied, happy, disappointed? I've had some real disappointing seasons. 93, 90 was disappointing. But I think this was a good one, and I think we're really making progress on trying to make some products available to the hobby that they're new, to me they're innovative, creative, and I really do appreciate all the people, Wayne Triv and Ed Gallagher, everybody that's contributed into our program and contributed unselfishly. And we look forward to that Strager kit coming out very soon.